Hello and welcome back to Bookish. Today I want to do kind of a nonfiction November, I don't know, recommendation piece of content. I don't really know how to describe it. And it's really probably won't be a very long video, but I just want to kind of make a recommendation to you for nonfiction reading of kind of what I would consider to be a classic American nonfiction writer, and that is the writer Joseph Mitchell. Most of Mitchell's best work is collected here in this edition called Up in the Old Hotel. Joseph Mitchell lived a very long life. I believe he died at the age of 90 about 23 years ago, and he wrote for New York newspapers, but most famously he wrote for the New Yorker. I was reminded of this book of Joseph Mitchell by the I love this book, I love this movie tag, which I recently did. One of the movies I considered putting on my list was a movie called Joe Gould's Secret, which was made by the excellent actor, Stanley Tucci, in which he played Joseph Mitchell, and Ian Holm played a character named Joe Gould. Joe Gould was a real person, and Joseph Mitchell, in his kind of writing career, he kind of wrote about and was interested in things going on in New York City, life in New York City, not always the glamorous life in New York City, but quite often kind of the underbelly, the quirky places, the places that would attract the not necessarily upper class or even the middle class. And in that experience, in those his wanderings around New York City and writing and researching, he ran across Joe Gould, who Gould claimed he was working on an oral history of the United States, a book that he was writing, and Mitchell and Gould, for lack of a better term, became friends. Mitchell wrote about him twice. Once a story he wrote about him called Professor Seagull, and then later he wrote Joe Gould's Secret, in which he reveals, well, Joe Gould's Secret. And if you watch the movie or read those stories, or well, maybe we should call them articles, then you'll find out what Joe Gould's Secret is. I'm not going to spoil that here. But Mitchell was a really great writer, a really great prose stylist, I think. He wrote nonfiction. If you've ever read a New Yorker or picked up a copy of the New Yorker, you know they have oftentimes incredibly long articles about just things going on in New York or the world, or and there's really oftentimes interesting. I think Mitchell was kind of one of the pioneers of that. I can't remember how long he worked at the New Yorker, but certainly I believe in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. After publishing Joe Gould's Secret, in which he actually revealed Joe Gould's Secret, Mitchell kind of would go into work every day at the New Yorker, but he didn't publish another article, even though he continued to go in to work every single day. So, I would encourage you, if you're looking for classic works of American nonfiction, and a writer of, the status of some of the great writers, I think, in American history, then I would definitely recommend Joseph Mitchell, the collection I have here, Up in the Old Hotel, or you could just read Joe Gould's Secret, which I think he expanded into book length in the 1960s. Either way, I think you'll find that his stories, his approach to his subjects is both sympathetic, humorous, and he's able to kind of create interest out of relatively mundane, or maybe I should say not mundane, but things that most of us don't pay any attention to. Now, I'll grant you, he was writing in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and so the things he's talking about seem outdated, but to me, that just adds to their charm. So I guess I'm going to call this a nonfiction November recommendation, and that's the work of Joseph Mitchell, in particular this collection of his best work from the New Yorker, called Up in the Old Hotel. Anyway, if you've ever read Joseph Mitchell, have seen the movie Joe Gould's Secret, let me know in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.